I never expected my sister's wedding to end with her palm striking my face, but there I stood in the Waldorf Astoria ballroom, 200 pairs of eyes fixed on the red mark blooming across my cheek. The crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, casting fractured light across champagne glasses that had frozen halfway to parted lips. A waiter's tray clattered somewhere in the sudden silence. Blythe's voice still rang in the air. "You're nothing but selfish." My sister, the bride, trembled in her designer gown, her perfectly manicured hand still raised. Camden smirked beside her, his new gold wedding band catching the light. The string quartet had stopped playing mid-song, their bows hovering uncertainly above their instruments. I touched my cheek, maintaining the composure that 15 years of litigation practice had drilled into me. The sting wasn't from the slap, it was from what had led to this moment, just minutes before. "Renata." My father had cornered me by the 5-tiered wedding cake, his voice carrying that familiar, patronizing tone. "We need to discuss your penthouse situation." I'd known this was coming. The hints had been dropping for weeks, pointed comments about Blythe and Camden's housing search, remarks about family helping family. "This isn't the time or place," I'd said, scanning the room for an escape route. Mother materialized at his elbow, her champagne glass trembling slightly. "After everything we've done for you, Renata, your sister needs that penthouse to start her real family." The words hit like ice water. My real family. Because apparently my single status at 35 made me less real, less worthy of the home I'd earned through 12 years of 100-hour weeks and sacrificed weekends. "That penthouse," I'd replied carefully, "is the result of my sacrifices. I earned it." "Sacrifices?" Mother's laugh was brittle. "We supported you through law school." "You paid my first semester's tuition," I corrected. "I worked and took loans for the rest, while attending every one of Blythe's emergencies." The memories surfaced unbidden. My law school graduation, empty seats where my parents should have been because Blythe had another anxiety attack. My first major legal victory at 27, celebrating alone because they were at Blythe's therapy session. The day I bought my Gold Coast penthouse, no family there to share my triumph because Blythe needed help moving into her 3rd apartment that year. "Your sister struggles," Father said. "You've always been the strong one." "Strong doesn't mean unlimited." I squared my shoulders. "And this discussion is over." That's when Blythe swooped in, Camden trailing behind her like a smug shadow. The train of her wedding dress whispered across the marble floor. "They told you?" Her voice carried that familiar whine. "About the penthouse? I knew you'd understand, Rennie. Camden's firm is restructuring, and the market is so awful." I said no. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. "No?" Blythe's perfect makeup couldn't hide her mounting color. But we need it. We're starting a family." "Then start it in a home you can afford." The words came out steady, measured. "My answer is no." That's when it happened. Blythe's face contorted, tears threatening her mascara. "You're nothing but selfish." The slap echoed across the ballroom. Phones appeared like fireflies, recording the moment. I heard giggling from Blythe's bridesmaids' table. Saw my parents' studied silence. No defense for their eldest daughter. From table 9, Judge Thompson set down his fork deliberately. Sarah Williams, the Tribune reporter who'd covered my last big case, was already reaching for her notepad. They'd witnessed everything. My cheek burned, but my hands were steady as I reached for my phone. This wasn't just about a slap. This was about years of enabling, of expectations, of treating my success as a resource to be mined for Blythe's benefit. The ballroom remained frozen, waiting for my response. Would I scream, create a scene, break down in tears? I did none of those things. Instead, I opened my messaging app and began to type. Because while they might see me as the family ATM, they'd forgotten one crucial detail. I wasn't just their dutiful daughter anymore. I was Renata Carlisle, litigation attorney. And I'd learned long ago that some battles aren't won with screaming, they're won with documentation, witnesses, and carefully chosen silence. Let them think they'd won this round. The string quartet started playing again, nervous notes filling the awkward silence. Guests returned to their champagne, though their eyes kept darting my way. Blythe's tears had already started, right on cue, Camden pulling her close as she buried her face in his shoulder. My mother stepped forward, hand outstretched. "Renata dear, let's not..." I held up my hand, stopping her mid-sentence. The gesture was calm, controlled, and absolute. Then I turned and walked toward the exit, my heels clicking against marble in perfect rhythm. Behind me, whispers rose like smoke. They thought they knew me, the reliable daughter, the successful sister, the endless resource. But they'd forgotten something essential. I didn't become a top litigator by backing down from a fight. And this fight was just beginning. The marble hallway outside the Waldorf's grand ballroom offers blessed silence after the charged atmosphere inside. My phone feels cool and solid in my hands as I lean against a gilded mirror, its ornate frame pressing into my shoulder blade. The red mark on my cheek has already begun to fade, but the weight of what just happened settles heavy in my chest. I open my secure messaging app and type to my private professional group chat. Documented incident at sister's wedding. Physical assault, slap, following demand to surrender property. Witnesses include Judge Thompson, Tribune reporter Sarah Williams. Family attempting coerced property transfer. Preserving evidence. Advice welcome. My thumb hovers over send for just a moment before pressing down. The message whooshes away and I watch the little dots appear as my colleagues begin typing responses. Miss Carlyle. Judge Thompson's measured voice makes me look up. He stands in the hallway's arch, his bow tie slightly askew, holding 2 glasses of water. He offers me one. I saw everything, Renata. His use of my first name carries the weight of 15 years of courtroom rapport. That was assault, plain and simple. And the property demand. He shakes his head. You have options. Thank you, Your Honor. I accept the water, knowing better than to discuss potential legal action with a sitting judge. But his presence here, his quiet support, speaks volumes. Renata? Sarah Williams appears at his elbow, reporter's notepad already in hand. Her sharp eyes take in the scene. The judge, my composed stance, the phone still recording evidence. This isn't right. What happened in there? It fits a pattern, doesn't it? The question hits closer than she knows. Last year's emergency flashes through my mind. Blythe sobbing over FaceTime about her mounting credit card debt. Our parents emptying $80,000 from their retirement account to cover it. She's having such a hard time. Mother had said when I objected, not everyone can be as financially comfortable as you. Comfortable. As if 100-hour weeks and sacrificed relationships were comfortable. I appreciate your concern, I tell Sarah, my litigation voice smooth and controlled. But I'm not ready to make any statements. She hands me her business card, expensive cardstock between manicured fingers. Some stories need to be told when you're ready. Especially stories about financial abuse and high-achieving families. Before I can respond, the ballroom doors burst open. My father strides out, his tuxedo jacket straining across his shoulders as he plants himself between me and the exit. You're ruining your sister's special day. His voice carries that familiar tone of absolute authority. The same one he used when telling me to skip my law school graduation because Blythe needed someone to help her move. Again. I think, I say carefully, her special day was ruined when she chose violence over respect. Violence? Blythe appears behind him, mascara tracking down her cheeks. You've always been jealous of me, just because you're alone and bitter. That's enough. The words come out sharp enough to cut glass. Mother materializes next, her social smile firmly in place despite the drama unfolding. Darling, give her the keys or don't come home for Christmas. It's that simple. Simple. Like missing my first Supreme Court argument was simple because Blythe had another anxiety attack. Like watching them drain their retirement for her shopping addiction was simple. My phone buzzes, messages flooding in from my law partners. Michaela's name appears first. Just saw the video. I always knew your family was toxic. Need backup? The hallway feels crowded now with witnesses and family, truth and lies, past and present colliding in this gilded space. A notification pops up, the first social media post of the slap already circulating. The timestamp feels like a court exhibit. I'll remember this choice you've made, I tell them, my voice steady. All of you. Then I walk away, my heels clicking against marble like a judge's gavel. Behind me, I hear my mother's intake of breath, my father's frustrated growl, Blythe's theatrical sob. But ahead of me lies the exit, and beyond that, a future where family doesn't mean sacrifice everything, where boundaries aren't seen as betrayal, where my success isn't treated like a community resource to be redistributed at will. My phone keeps buzzing with messages of support. Colleagues offering legal advice, Judge Thompson's quiet advocacy, Sarah Williams' promise to tell the truth when I'm ready. These are the allies I've earned through years of professional integrity, not the family who sees my strength as an excuse for endless taking. In the Waldorf's elegant lobby, I paused to send one final message to my professional group. Proceeding with documentation and strategic response. Will not engage emotionally. This ends now. Because sometimes the strongest response isn't a slap back or a public scene. Sometimes it's simply standing your ground, documenting the truth, and letting consequences unfold naturally. After all, that's what good attorneys do. We build cases, brick by brick, truth by truth, until justice becomes inevitable. And this case? It's just beginning. Sunday morning light streams through my penthouse windows, casting long shadows across the Brazilian cherry floors I chose myself. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since I left the Waldorf last night, each notification a ripple in what's becoming a social media tsunami. The video plays again on my screen, Blythe's manicured hand connecting with my cheek, the sharp crack echoing through the ballroom's perfect acoustics. Give me the keys to your penthouse. Her voice shrieks, distorted through phone speakers but unmistakable. The timestamp reads 8:47 p.m. I was there. She assaulted her own sister at her wedding. Justice for Renata. Chicago attorney physically attacked for refusing to give away her home. Witnessed this firsthand. Disgusting entitlement from bride and family. The posts multiply like bacteria in a petri dish. My inbox fills with messages from wedding guests, suddenly remembering their moral courage. I totally would have said something, but it happened so fast. Always thought your sister was unstable. Your parents should be ashamed. My voicemail indicator blinks. Blythe's message, timestamped 3 a.m. How could you embarrass me like this? My wedding day, Renata. You've always been jealous because I actually have someone who loves me. Camden says you planned this whole thing to upstage me. Just wait until Daddy hears. Delete. The email from my parents arrives precisely at 9 a.m., as if maintaining proper business hours might lend authority to their demands. Renata. This situation requires immediate correction. Your sister's special day has been irreparably damaged by your dramatic behavior. We expect you to issue a public statement retracting any implications of wrongdoing and apologizing for the misunderstanding. Family loyalty demands nothing less. Mother and father. I close my laptop, but not before catching the notification that justice for Renata is trending in Chicago legal circles. Monday morning brings the first tremors of consequence. Michaela texts me before my first coffee. Blythe's firm put her on administrative leave. Something about conduct unbecoming and viral reputational damage. An hour later, Camden's broker called. Ethics review pending. Apparently attacking family members for their property raises red flags in real estate. The country club president's name appears on my caller ID. Miss Carlyle, I wanted you to know we've had a difficult conversation with your parents. The board has certain expectations about member conduct. My own office line lights up continuously. We saw how you handled that situation, potential clients say. We need an attorney with that kind of integrity. Judge Thompson's secretary emails. His Honor would like to refer the Morrison case to your firm. He specifically requested you as lead counsel. At lunch, Michaela spreads documents across my conference room table, her reading glasses perched on her nose. The assault case is clear-cut. Multiple witnesses, video evidence, prior pattern of financial exploitation. Defamation too, given their public statements. And, I prompt, knowing my friend sees beyond legal strategy. And you're not going to pursue any of it, she removes her glasses. Because you're better than that. But Renata, not pursuing charges doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. Sarah Williams' email arrives as if on cue. Family entitlement, a modern epidemic. Your story could help others set boundaries. Consider it? I type my response. I won't pursue charges, but I won't recant the truth either. The week unfolds like a carefully orchestrated symphony of consequences. Judge Thompson and his wife invite me to dinner. Small gathering, just a few colleagues who understand professional integrity. 3 new clients specifically reference the incident. We need counsel who stands their ground. My penthouse, the source of so much conflict, feels different now. Each piece of furniture, each carefully chosen artwork, represents not just success, but sanctuary. A space earned through dedication, protected through principle. The family facade begins to crack. A colleague sends me a photo of Blythe and Camden arguing outside their apartment, her designer bag swinging wildly as she gestures. Mother's bridge partner mentions the awkward silence at their weekly game. Father's golf buddies start finding reasons to reschedule their standing tea times. Then comes Mother's text, precisely worded, "Perhaps we should talk. This situation has become uncomfortable." I wait an hour before responding, remembering all the times I rushed to smooth things over, to be the reasonable one. Not this time. "I'm available when you're ready to respect my boundaries. All of them." The sun sets on my penthouse, painting the skyline in shades of amber and gold. My phone stays quiet now, the initial storm of reactions settling into something more substantial: change. Real change, born not from dramatic confrontation but from simply standing still, holding my ground while the world adjusts its axis. Michaela sends one final text before bed. "You good?" I look around my home, my earned, chosen, protected space, and reply, "Better than good. I'm free." Because sometimes winning isn't about the fight. Sometimes it's about remaining steadfast while others face their own reflections in the mirror you've held up. Sometimes justice arrives not through legal action, but through the quiet power of unvarnished truth. And truth, once spoken, has a way of completing its own mission. The morning talk show's soft lighting can't quite mask Blythe's red-rimmed eyes. She perches on the cream-colored sofa, a portrait of wounded innocence in pale blue cashmere. "It was just a terrible misunderstanding," she tells Chicago Am's sympathetic host. "My sister and I have always been close." The stress of the wedding, emotions running high. Her voice catches. "I just wanted to share a special moment in our family home." My coffee goes cold as I watch the performance. The show carefully edited out any mention that the family home she wanted to share is my penthouse, purchased with my money, in my name. "Michaela, I don't need to look up when my office door opens." "How bad?" "Your sister's publicist is good," she says, dropping a stack of printouts on my desk. They're spinning it as, "Privileged sister refuses to help struggling newlyweds." But the video's still out there. People remember what they saw. My phone buzzes. Another text from an unknown number. "Heartless bitch. Hope you're happy destroying your family." Delete. The intercom chirps. "Miss Carlyle? Your parents are here. They don't have an appointment, but..." "Tell them I'm in depositions all day." The lie slides out smoothly. "And Sarah, please remember, no unscheduled visitors, family or otherwise." "Yes, ma'am." A pause. "They're saying it's about a family emergency?" "The emergency is that their usual tactics aren't working," Michaela mutters. I straighten papers that don't need straightening. "The same response, Sarah, thank you." Through my office window, I watch them leave the building. Mother's Hermes scarf flutters in the wind, father's shoulders rigid with familiar disapproval. They pause by their Mercedes, clearly expecting me to rush down to make things right, like always. Not this time. The Chicago Legal Monthly arrives on my desk that afternoon. Our firm's feature article leads with a photo of me in court, focused, professional, commanding. The piece never mentions the wedding incident, but Judge Thompson's quote speaks volumes. In an era where personal integrity often takes a backseat to expediency, attorneys like Renata Carlisle remind us that true success is built on unwavering principles. My email pings with meeting requests from 3 Fortune 500 companies. "Your reputation for ethical leadership impressed our board," one CEO writes. Camden's LinkedIn update appears in my feed. "Seeking new opportunities in luxury real estate." The comments below are telling: canceled contracts, concerned clients. Consequences have their own gravity. "Did you see this?" Michaela forwards Sarah Williams' latest article. The headline reads, "Family entitlement in the age of accountability, when because we're family isn't enough." I scan the piece, noting its careful balance. No names, but the message is clear. Boundaries matter regardless of blood ties. Mother's text arrives during dinner. "We've found an excellent family therapist. Dr. Harrison has helped many families heal these kinds of rifts. Tuesday at 2? I set down my fork, considering. Their chosen therapist, their chosen time, their chosen narrative. The pattern continues. "Ren?" Blythe's number appears on my phone. "Please, my marriage is falling apart. Camden's so angry. If we could just stay in your guest room for a while." "No," the word comes out soft but absolute. "Just until things settle. We wouldn't be in your way. You're never even home. The answer is no, Blythe. Not temporarily, not partially, not at all. Why are you being so cold? We're family. Yes, we are. And family should respect boundaries. She sniffs. Mother says you're just being stubborn. If you really loved us. I do love you, I interrupt, surprising us both with the truth of it. But I won't set myself on fire to keep you warm. The line goes quiet, then. That's very rehearsed. Very lawyer-like. It's very honest. And it's final. Later, I draft my response to Mother's therapy invitation. I appreciate the gesture, but I won't attend therapy designed to make me more compliant. When you're ready to discuss mutual respect and genuine boundaries, I know an excellent counselor who specializes in family dynamics. She has no connection to our social circle and no preconceptions about our situation. I'm willing to rebuild bridges, but not at the expense of my self-respect. The choice is yours. Send. My phone stays silent after that. Through the penthouse windows, Chicago's lights glitter like scattered diamonds. Each one represents a choice. Thousands of people making thousands of decisions about who they are, what they'll accept, how they'll live. Michaela texts. Speaking at the Women in Law conference next month. They specifically requested you as co-presenter. Topic: Professional integrity in personal conflicts. I smile, remembering all the times I thought strength meant fighting. Now I know better. Sometimes strength is simply standing still, letting the truth do its work while you tend your own garden. I'm in, I reply, watching a plane's lights trace a steady path across the night sky. Like that pilot, I know my course now. Let the turbulence come. I am my own true north. Le Petit Jardin's soft lighting bathes the private dining room in amber warmth. I've celebrated countless victories here, making partner, winning impossible cases, closing career-defining deals. The irony isn't lost on me that my family would choose this space for their final stand. Miss Carlyle, your party has arrived? Antoine murmurs, his professional mask slipping just enough to show concern. They're requesting the Bordeaux you usually order for special occasions. Thank you, Antoine. Please hold off on the wine for now. They file in like actors taking their marks. Mother leading with practiced grace, father's hand at her elbow, Blythe dabbing artfully at her eyes. The surprise is grandmother Carlyle, moving deliberately with her carved mahogany cane. Really, Renata? Mother adjusts her pearls. Making your grandmother come all this way? I didn't make anyone come anywhere. I butter a piece of bread, maintaining the rhythm of my usual Thursday dinner. In fact, I don't recall extending any invitations. Because you're avoiding us. Blythe drops into the chair across from me, her entrance perfectly timed with Camden's arrival. We had to do something. I take another bite of bread. Wait. Sweetheart. Father leans forward, his CEO voice in full effect. We know you're upset, but this situation has gone far enough. You're hurting the family. The family is hurting itself, grandmother says quietly, easing into her seat. Her eyes meet mine, sharp as ever. Mother, please. Father's jaw tightens. We're trying to resolve this reasonably. Camden places a leather portfolio on the table. I had my friend Jason draw these up. He's brilliant with real estate law. It's a fair compromise. A compromise implies mutual negotiation. I observe, finishing my bread. Don't be difficult, darling. Mother's smile stretches thin. We've already told the Worthingtons you're helping Blythe and Camden get established. Everyone's so relieved you're being sensible. My phone buzzes. Michaela's text. Backup documentation delivered to Judge Thompson's chambers. Green light whenever you need it. I dab my lips with the napkin, taking in the tableau before me. My family, arranged like a society portrait, waiting for me to fall in line. How many times have I seen this scene? How many times have I yielded? Let me share some documentation of my own. I open my briefcase, removing a precisely organized folder. First, statements from 12 wedding guests regarding the unauthorized entry attempt. Second, security footage from my building showing 3 subsequent attempts. Third, transcripts of 17 phone calls containing threats and emotional manipulation. Threats? Blythe's voice rises. We were trying to reason with you. The law has very specific definitions of harassment and coercion. I continue methodically. Judge Thompson was particularly interested in the pattern of escalation. You went to Thompson? Father's face reddens. About a family matter? When family matters become legal issues, yes. I meet his gaze steadily. Just as Blythe's former employer felt compelled to address her actions when they affected their professional reputation. The color drains from Blythe's face. What do you mean, former employer? The termination letter should arrive tomorrow. Your public attempts to manipulate the situation violated several ethics clauses. I turned to Camden. Similarly, the Real Estate Commission found your recent behavior concerning enough to warrant a 6-month probation. You vindictive bitch! Camden half rises, but Father's hand clamps his shoulder. And the club? Mother whispers, her fingers white around her water glass. The board made their own decision after reviewing the facts. I merely provided documentation when asked. You've ruined everything. Blythe shoves back her chair, mascara tracking down her cheeks. We're your family. You were supposed to help us. I tried. The words come softly, weighted with years of trying. I offered career guidance, professional connections, emotional support, but it was never enough, was it? You wanted the rewards without the work, the success without the sacrifice. Sacrifice? Father's laugh is bitter. We always knew you'd use your success against us. Your mother and I sacrificed everything. What exactly did you sacrifice, Lorraine? Grandmother's voice cuts through the tension. Your daughter worked 3 jobs through law school. She built her practice while you focused on country club committees. Arthur, you refused to co-sign her first apartment lease because it might impact your credit. Mother's lips tremble. We gave her every advantage. You gave her expectations. Grandmother's cane taps once, decisive. Renata gave her self-determination. There's a difference. I stand, gathering my things with practiced efficiency. My door remains open when you're ready to respect who I am. Not who you need me to be, not who you wish I was. Who I am. Renata. Blythe's voice cracks. Please. I do love you, I say, echoing our last conversation. But love without respect isn't love at all. It's just another form of control. The evening air carries the first hint of autumn when I step outside. Antoine appears with my coat, his quiet bonne soirée, carrying a note of approval. My phone lights up with grandmother's text. You did well, child. Some bridges need burning so better ones can be built. Behind me I hear Blythe's sobs, mother's protests, father's angry commands. But they sound distant now, like echoes from another life. Ahead, the city stretches out, full of possibilities built on truth rather than obligation. I flag down a taxi, giving my office address. There's a brief to finish, justice to be served in measured words and careful arguments. The work sustains me, as it always has. Some might call it cold justice, this careful documentation of consequences. But true justice isn't about temperature. It's about balance, about restoration, about making space for something real to grow from the ashes of comfortable lies. The taxi pulls away from the curb, leaving my family's carefully constructed reality crumbling in my wake. Sometimes love looks like walking away. Sometimes strength means letting the truth do its work, even when truth feels like betrayal to those who've built their lives on denial. I am my grandmother's granddaughter, after all. Some lessons skip a generation to find their true heir. Spring sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my penthouse, catching on the new art pieces I've carefully selected. Gone are mother's insisted upon pastels and Blythe's scattered attempts at bohemian chic. The space breathes now, clean lines and rich textures reflecting the person I've always been beneath the careful compromise. The transformation is remarkable, Judge Thompson observes, accepting a glass of wine from his wife, Helen, though I must say, the host remains the most improved element. Robert, Helen chides gently, but she's smiling. Though he's right, Renata, you seem lighter. The dinner party flows around my expansive dining table, a handcrafted piece that replaced the family heirloom I finally returned to my parents' keeping. Michaela catches my eye from where she's describing her latest case to Sarah Williams, whose series on family financial boundaries earned her the Midwest Journalism Award last month. Speaking of lighter, Sarah says, "Have you seen the photos from your parents' estate sale? The country club set is buzzing about their downsizing journey." I haven't. I arranged the last place setting, each element precise. Grandmother mentioned they found a condo that suits their new circumstances. The unspoken truth hangs in the air. Their circumstances changed dramatically after covering Blythe's mounting debts. Camden's real estate license suspension led to their separation 3 months ago. Last I heard, she'd moved back home, still insisting the world owed her better. Your grandmother's quite something, Helen says warmly. The way she stood up at the Bar Association dinner last week to introduce you. My granddaughter, the attorney, Michaela quotes, mimicking grandmother's proud tone. Simple, elegant, true. Truth has a way of being all three. I adjust a wayward fork, though it took years of therapy to understand that. The doorbell chimes, right on time, as always. Grandmother's Sunday visits have become a cherished ritual, her carved cane tapping a steady rhythm as Antoine, who now manages my private events, helps her with her coat. Everyone's speaking of your Thompson case, she announces, settling into her usual seat. 3 generations of women finally free to build their own legacies, thanks to your work. They did the hard part. I pour her preferred tea into the cup I keep just for her. I just help them understand their rights. Rights and responsibilities. Judge Thompson adds, the balance you strike in your practice is remarkable, Renata. It's why the Ethics Board selected you for this year's Distinguished Service Award. The conversation shifts to next week's ceremony, but my mind drifts to the speech I've prepared. How do you distill decades of learning into 5 minutes? How do you explain that sometimes the greatest service is saying no? Later, after the guests have gone and grandmother's driver has collected her, I stand on my balcony overlooking the city lights. The spring air carries possibility, so different from the weight of expectations that used to press against my shoulders. My phone buzzes, mother's weekly attempt at contact. The messages vacillate between guilt and anger, each one proving why my boundaries must stand. I send it to voicemail, adding another brick to the wall of my peace. In my home office, once a guest room kept ready for Blythe's dramatic midnight arrivals, I review applications for the first-generation legal scholars program I've established. Young women whose families don't understand their drive, their refusal to settle for less than they've earned. In their letters, I see echoes of my own journey. Success isn't measured by what we give up to please others. I practice softly, testing the words for my upcoming speech, but by the integrity with which we live our truth. The words feel right, earned through every difficult no, every careful documentation of crossing boundaries, every therapy session unpacking the difference between love and control. I think of the young attorneys I mentor now, teaching them to recognize the subtle manipulation tactics I once mistook for family devotion. My desk holds a new photo, grandmother and me at last month's Women's Shelter fundraiser, both of us looking directly at the camera, spines straight, smiles genuine. Beside it sits the key to my penthouse, no longer a point of contention but a symbol of sovereignty. The city stretches out below, a tapestry of lights and shadows. Somewhere out there, Blythe is likely plotting her next attempt at financial resurrection. Mother is probably at her smaller dining table, polishing silver that no longer impresses her reduced social circle. Father, I hear, spends long hours at his club, though his membership has been quietly downgraded. But their stories are no longer mine to manage. My peace was purchased at full price, paid in the currency of unwavering boundaries and unflinching truth. Some might call it cold, this careful distance I maintain. But there's warmth in authenticity, heat in the friction of growth. Tomorrow, I'll meet with another young lawyer struggling to balance family expectations with professional integrity. I'll share what I've learned, that family isn't defined by who shares your DNA, but by who respects your dignity. That love without boundaries isn't love at all, it's consumption. The night air carries the scent of blooming trees from the park below. Spring in Chicago always feels like a rebellion, life pushing through concrete with stubborn determination. I've become like those trees, my roots breaking through the foundations of family mythology to find solid ground. What would you say? I whisper to the city lights. To the person watching who feels trapped by family obligations, who measures their worth in others' approval. The answer comes in grandmother's voice, sharp with wisdom. Tell them that dignity, once reclaimed, grows stronger than guilt. Tell them that truth, however painful, nourishes deeper roots than comfortable lies. I close my balcony door, securing it with the same quiet certainty I now bring to all my boundaries. Inside, my home reflects the woman I've become, strong, certain, serene. The woman who finally understood that some bridges, once burned, light the way to better shores. A text from Michaela lights up my phone. Speech draft approved by committee. You're opening the conference. I smile, settling into my favorite chair with my laptop. There's work to do. Justice to dispense, boundaries to maintain. The path forward is clear now. marked not by family expectations but by the steady light of self-respect. Some might call it a lonely path, this choice to prioritize truth over tradition, respect over relation. But as I look around my peaceful home, filled with the evidence of authentic achievement and genuine connections, I know better. This isn't loneliness, this is sovereignty. And it was worth every difficult step of the journey.